Welcome to this episode of the Lifework podcast, and today we are privileged to have as our guest Janna Himschoot, Professor Janna Himschoot. Welcome to the podcast, Janna.
Thank you for having me.
I've been delighted, been wanting to have you for a while now, and I'm glad we finally were able to work it out.
That's awesome.
Because I hear you got all kinds of stuff that you need to tell everybody in the world about. Is that true?
Yes.
That wasn't very convincing. So for our listeners, tell them who you are here at Williams. What do you do here at the university?
Okay, well, I am an assistant professor of business. This is my 11th year I just completed.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big deal for me.
So one question, and I know you have told me this before, and I'm sorry, but I'm getting old and forgetful. How did you get here? Where were you when you came to Williams? What brought you here?
So I wanted to be a professor.
Okay.
So after approximately, 30 years, 20 years in the workforce, my dad had left secondary education to be a professor, and I saw that, and I'm like, I want to do that.
Okay.
I have gained some business knowledge, and there are some things that I can teach students.
We're going to come back to that, maybe even in our next episode. But before we get there, where is home? Where did Janna come into this world? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Hardy, Arkansas.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I lived there all my life, back generations, in fact. So I'm strongly rooted there. I'm still living there, just a few miles from where I grew up.
That's a little bit of a drive, isn't it?
About an hour.
So you drive an hour here and an hour home.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have zero tolerance for late students or lack of attendance in my classes.
Ouch.
Yes.
Ouch. So growing up in Hardy, of course, the river, which river runs through Hardy?
Spring.
Do you live on the river, near the
No.
river?
No. I live just a few miles from the river, and that's close enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you live in Hardy, Arkansas, and that's where you grew up. So tell us about your family growing up.
Yeah. So I am the youngest of two girls.
Okay.
My parents are both educators.
Okay.
My dad built houses for a while, both very strongly rooted in their faith in the church. In fact, my great-grandparents founded the church that
Really?
they attend. Yes.
Okay.
So big history there. And my sister is in Michigan, so she went for the city girl life, and I'm more involved in the, small town life.
Okay.
So my dad was a farmer, in addition to being a teacher. So we had cattle, and he didn't have a boy. So that's the role that I filled.
Okay.
So I started driving a tractor as soon as I got tall enough to reach the pedal, and
Wow.
driving the truck while he, threw hay off the back of the truck. And
So how many acres did you guys farm?
a little over 300.
Okay. Not a little family farm then.
No, still have that farm. Yeah.
Do you live on a farm currently?
Not right now.
Okay.
No. But yeah, we still have the farm. We never did live on the farm.
Okay.
We drove to the farm. It's just a few miles away.
So you commuted to the farm.
We commuted to the farm.
So
yes.
were you living in Hardy, or were you living in a suburb of Hardy?
Outside of Hardy, most
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yes. So that's where I grew up, and driving tractors and raising cattle. And when I was 12 years old, I took out my first loan to buy a cow-calf pair.
Oh, wow. You took out a loan at 12
At
years
12 years old.
with the bank?
Yes. You can't really do that anymore, but I did it. My dad co-signed for me, and I had to keep track of feed costs, and I sold the calf to pay the loan back, and I just kept that process going.
So tell me about your parents. Your dad was an educator and a farmer. Your mother was an educator?
Yes.
So were they teaching in public schools, K through 12? What did they teach?
Yeah. So my dad taught high school math at Thayer, Missouri, which is not far from where we
I
lived.
know where Thayer is. Yeah.
Yeah, taught there for several years, retired from that, and then started back again teaching at Ozarka, teaching mathematics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your mom?
My mom was a kindergarten teacher. She was my kindergarten teacher at Williford. Yeah. And so she did that for several years, 16 years, I believe, and then transitioned into administration.
Okay.
And she retired as an elementary school principal.
Wow.
Yeah, after 30 years.
So, what are some memories that you have of your parents and their working? What are some stories or memories or impressions that you have of that time of your life?
So I was always involved with whenever like dad was a sponsor or fall festival. My mom taught at Williford, and fall festival was a big deal there. And so she was in charge of it as elementary principal for the activities in the elementary school. So I would go and volunteer, or as a child, we would go and play the games and have a lot of fun, but hang out in her office. And with my dad, he would be a junior class sponsor, and I would go help him build floats. I would go when they would have events. And so, yeah, I was just always involved with those extracurriculars for sure.
What things did you observe about your parents and the way they worked?
So, always hard workers, always very responsible and diligent, worked a lot of hours. Mom, as an administrator, had to go to all the games. She worked during the summer, so she didn't get summers off as an administrator. So, definitely very hardworking, but still, after hours, took care of the farm. They had a garden. My mom canned every year, canned vegetables. I still do that myself. So, she taught me how to do that. I've been doing that for 33 years now. I can every year. Yeah.
So, you bought your own cow, bull
Cow, calf, pair. Yeah, mom and baby.
at 12 years of age.
Yep.
Took out a loan.
Yep.
So you're taking care of that.
Yes.
Are you actually working on the farm too, besides driving the truck or tractor?
Yeah. I mean, we would go every evening after school. That was the thing. You went and checked the cattle, fed the cattle, did whatever needed to be done, and I went with him. And on the weekends, we went to the feed store. We went to the implement store, whatever we needed to do, and I went with him.
Now, a lot of people in my lifetime that grow up in those kinds of environments, when they get to be adults, they move away from that. That I grew up that way. I didn't want to keep doing that as an adult. I now have the say over my life, and I'm out of here. But it doesn't sound like that's true for you necessarily.
No. I lived that life. My husband and I met at the Sharp County Fair in the cattle barn.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 12 and he was 13.
Wow.
Yes.
Did it start there or just met each other there?
We met there. My dad likes to say every time he got out of his chair, that Himschoot boy was in his chair in the barn. Yeah. So I guess it kind of started there. Obviously, it took some time to develop. We were still pretty young.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my husband and I raised cattle, had our own cattle farm for 30 years, and he just recently retired from that himself. So we no longer raise cattle besides just to provide meat for the family.
So you alluded to the fact, you mentioned the fact that you have some great grandparents or grandparents that started a church.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up in the church?
Yes, from the womb.
From the womb, okay.
Yes.
So very committed, very involved in church life growing up?
Always. Mm-hmm.
And tell us about your faith journey, how you came to know the Lord.
Yeah, so my salvation happened when I was very young. I was 7 years old, but I was very sure about that decision. There was no question that I was being called, and was happy to make that decision. I remember it very vividly, that tug on my heart. And so, yeah, from there, when you're 7, there's not much of a life change, I guess you could say, but always invested in the church. It became very important to me. And I very quickly transitioned from, in Sunday school to leading and being involved in doing activities and things like that.
So was it a small church or
Very small?
Okay.
Yeah, very small.
A lot of your current family is members of the church or lots of
Yes.
different families?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're growing up on the farm, hardworking parents. You have a
Yes.
sister.
Mm-hmm.
You're growing up in church, following the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
When in this journey did you begin to sense maybe a calling unto something in your life? I mean, when you went in high school, were you thinking, I'm going to be a professor one day, or I'm going to farm one day, or I'm going to own the world's biggest business one day? I'm going to do what? When did you start conceiving of a purpose or direction in life?
Yeah. So my very first purpose in life was motherhood.
Okay.
As from a very young age, I wanted to be a mom.
Okay.
And we'll find out later that translates into the way I interact with my students as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first calling. And I really felt like I was being led to that. And as far as being a professor, that wasn't even on the table when I was in high school. I wanted to be an accountant. I attend.
Okay. We got to stop there. You may be the very first person I ever met that went in high school to think, I want to be an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
So
come to that decision? Like, it's one thing I may want to get in business or finance but that's pretty specific for a teenage girl.
Yep. So I attended Girls State.
Okay.
And we had the opportunity to attend various workshops with different careers. Well, I attended one for an accountant, and it was a woman, and she emphasized how she was able to arrange her life around her business and her job and still be able to focus on her family. So that leads back to that motherhood calling. And I said, okay, that's what I want to do. I also love to organize. I liked paperwork. I know. Don't judge me, Dr. Norman.
I'm judging.
Yeah, I feel like you are. Yes. So, yes, I like to organize information. I like to be able to find things very quickly and have it be accurate. And so I learned that about myself very early on. It's a gift that I have to be very efficient and very organized. So, yeah, that's my superpower, I guess you could say.
Wow. I mean, I'm just wanting to be an accountant in 8th to 9th grade, knowing that's going to be the direction.
It was more, I would say, 11th grade is when I really landed on accounting.
So were you involved in FFA, 4-H in high school?
4-H.
Okay.
Yes. Very, very involved in 4-H. Did not do FFA. I did other high school organizations, but I didn't do FFA. I did 4-H, and that's where my cattle showing stemmed from. Was
What
4-H.
happened to that first cow and calf that you bought?
So we eventually sold them. The cow, she got old. She had several babies.
So I'm assuming you made some money off of this transaction, paid off your loan,
Yes.
and started to build your vast financial empire.
Yes, you could say that.
So did you buy other cattle? I mean, did you start growing a herd or?
Yeah, I grew from that one. Yeah, so my dad, I'm not sure if this is appropriate for this podcast, but he did artificial insemination. So we could breed to other bulls and carry on with just that original cow-calf pair that I had.
Okay.
Because he was able to, to use other bulls for that.
So how large did the Janna herd get?
Oh, not very big. Not very big because we would sell the babies. And then, you keep the heifers to have more babies, but the bulls or steers, you would show them and then sell them.
All right, I want to put you on the spot. That's okay.
Sure.
All right, here we go. What is one of the most impressionable memories that you have growing up as it relates to your parents or to being on a farm or from church or anything? When you look back on your earlier life, what are one or two profound events that looking back you think that had an influence on my life in a way I didn't appreciate then, but I do now?
Well, it's more of the experience, I think, of being on the farm with my dad. That's probably the big thing.
Okay.
Because we did it every day. I would ride with him in the truck to the farm or in the back of the truck.
Now, was your sister with you?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
She was not interested or involved at all. Not her thing.
So then you could pick. You could choose to do that or not.
Right.
Am I reading that? And your
Yes.
sister chose not to, but you chose to do it.
Yes.
Why? What was attractive to you about that?
I loved it. I loved being on the farm. I loved being with my dad. And I'd always fall asleep on the way home. And I'd wake up, but I would act like I was still asleep, and he would carry me inside.
He probably knew.
He knew.
Yeah. So how do you think that influenced the later Janna?
Well, I mean, I had an opportunity to work with my dad
Yeah.
actually for a while. We can talk about later.
And that's a gift.
Yes, yes. It just it took me down to the bare minimum of what's important. And so my values are very, very simple. And I think that's what shaped me more than anything else.
Well, you alluded to this working with your dad. Go ahead and go there.
So, in my journey, when I finally decided to be a professor, and I will go back and say in high school when I was choosing a vocation, for a degree path in college, my dad said, I don't care what you do, just don't be a teacher.
Well, you didn't listen to your dad then.
I did at first, yes. So I did pursue the degree in accounting, and I did earn that degree. And my first career was in corporate accounting. So I did honor that at first. And then after he retired from secondary education and he taught at Ozarka for a while, he really enjoyed it. He really liked teaching at that level. I'm like, I want to do that. So I went back to school. I had to get another degree in order to be able to do that because he advised me, so you need another degree. So I did that and earned that degree and thought I would immediately get a job as a professor, right?
Yeah. No.
And I had never had that experience. I had always immediately had a job. I've always been that person. And so that was a good experience for me.
So before we get too far into that, you're in high school. You're living a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Great family.
Yep.
Great relationship with your parents.
Yep.
Walking with the Lord.
Yep.
High school's about to end.
Yes.
You're staring at the next step of your future. What are you looking at doing?
Marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Did not see that one coming.
Yes.
So that kid that you met in the cattle
In
barn,
the barn. Yes. I married him
right out of high school.
right out of high school. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Not that I should know that, but I didn't know that.
I have been married 32 years.
You are not old enough to have been married that long.
Yes, I am.
You're 33 or 34. So, I mean, immediately after high school.
The December after, January 1st, after I graduated high school.
So at college, was that after or was that not
During.
on? So you started school.
Yes.
And you got married.
In the fall.
Okay.
And I got married between fall and spring semesters.
I kind of did too. My
So-
sophomore year.
You're judging me, so
No,
why?
I'm not judging you. I just thought there aren't a lot of us running around here.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't know Joy at the time when I graduated high school. I was a pathetic, lonely, needy 18-year-old, just not knowing what I wanted to do, not knowing where to go. And when I started college, I was just starting college and not even know what I wanted to do then. But you started college knowing you were going to get married and what?
I was going to finish my degree and I was going to start a family and get a job that I could manage while I had my family.
So what was the degree?
Accounting.
So you knew from the get-go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I never wavered.
Wow. What a resolute woman. You were and are, I guess.
That's accurate.
So how long did it take you to finish the degree?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't rush that.
No, I did take some classes outside, like the summers between junior and senior year of high school. I took college algebra from my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Had mom for kindergarten and dad for algebra.
Yep. So I had
What did you make?
an A.
Oh, of
I
course.
had no choice.
Of course.
So his thing was he would go around and ask the class whether they'd done their homework. And he never asked me because he knew I had done my homework because he made sure that I did my homework. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got you married, got you in college, got you a degree. I want to stop right here and I want to pick up the story in our next episode. And I want to really get into the calling post-college, being a wife, being a mother, and then moving off into the other part of the work life, because being a wife and a mother is part of the work life too,
Sure.
undoubtedly.
Hmm.
Are you good to go there after in the next episode?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do it.